Welcome to week 3 of Rooted. This week we're going to be talking about how Jesus is the roots of our garden and we're the plant. So it's not like you can't look out and see the roots in our yard, under our trees, in our garden. We don't look out and see them, but we see the fruit of the root, and that's the plant. And so as we look at our own spiritual life, Jesus is our roots. We can't see him in a physical sense, but we can see the fruit that he brings. We can see how he makes us flourish. And sometimes it doesn't always look like we're flourishing if we're so beaten up by life. Last time we talked about suffering and how suffering will come to us all in one form or another, and how Jesus sustains us through that suffering. As I was learning more and more about plants, I learned this awesome thing. Maybe you know it, probably do. If you cut down a tree and it's just the stump and the roots left, it can send a sprout off of the roots and form a new tree. So sometimes in life, if we are just so hurting and so down, we feel like our life is never going to get better. It kind of feels hopeless. But if Jesus is our roots, he will always give us life. He will always make us flourish. If life beats us up so bad that we feel like we're seriously literally cut down like a tree, we have the hope that we will flourish again in a new tree. As long as our roots are Jesus, we can live. We will constantly live and flourish and be a plant in his garden. And sometimes it's hard to see that when you're going through it, but our feelings don't tell the truth. Jesus tells the truth. So as a woman, at least, sometimes my feelings are like this. Jesus is right here, and my feelings are like I feel like I'm, great one day, and then the next day it's like, bam, I can't, I'm down, I'm frustrated, I'm impatient, and I'm like, what is going on? And sometimes it's a period of time. Sometimes it's just, day to day that we get frustrated. We feel like we're good, and then we feel like we're bad, and, it's this kind of up and down thing. And then sometimes it's a period of, we feel like we're doing pretty good for a period, and then something happens and we're back down and we need some encouragement. And then sometimes it's a period of discouragement where we just feel like we're in a valley. We feel like we're cut down. We feel like our plant is battered. But the thing is, our feelings, we can't trust them. Feelings God has given us to point us back to what's maybe going on in our heart. Feelings are great for analyzing what's going on in our heart, but they are not truth. Jesus is truth, and Jesus is always under us, sustaining us. And if we know that and we believe that, the times that our feelings come and they tell us lies, or Satan comes and he tells us lies and says, you're not good enough, you're never going to get over this, you're never going to be a good plant, you're always going to be withered. The truth is, we're always sustained with Jesus. We're always flourishing with Jesus. Even if that's all we can say that day because we're discouraged, is I know Jesus is sustaining me and I know I'm flourishing. Even if my plant is cut down, I can grow again. I can sprout from his roots again because he is not going to leave me. It says somewhere, I can't quote the exact scripture right now, but it says that God will uproot what he didn't plant, but he's never going to uproot what he planted. And he planted Jesus Christ in each one of us that follow him and believe him and trust in his blood to save us. God planted Jesus in us. And if we keep coming back to that and we keep trusting it, there's nothing that's going to uproot us. We might feel like we're cut off. We might feel like we're pushed down, battered, and struggling, but we are rooted in Jesus, and we will grow again, and we will flourish again. And sometimes the journey of discouragement might be a while. Sometimes it might be pretty fast to go through it. And sometimes we might be up on a spiritual mountaintop for a while, and then we're struggling again. And that's why God gave us people to encourage us and other believers to walk hand in hand with us. Say, you know what, you're struggling, but I'm pretty good right now, so I want to encourage you. And then other times it might be flipped, and it's just the beauty of God's plan. But the thing that we all have in common, no matter if we're struggling or if we're feeling pretty strong, Jesus is sustaining us, and he is making our garden flourish, and we can trust in that, and we can rest in that, and we can know that we need to water our garden. We need to plant good things in our garden. We need to uproot the weeds in our garden, but we also know and we can trust that all the things that we do to intentionally help grow our garden, only God produces the increase. Only God makes our garden flourish. And so when we're rooted in Jesus, we can rest in a few things here. We can rest knowing that we're never going to be uprooted as long as we keep ourselves rooted in Jesus. And we don't choose to leave him. God's never going to uproot us. We're always going to be sustained by Jesus if we keep believing in him. And two, our feelings, they're not going to tell us the truth. But knowing that our root system is Jesus Christ, we can be sustained even in the hard times. Even knowing that hope will come. There will come a day of hope. There will come a day of healing, even if that's all the way till heaven. Even if we have to wait all the way till heaven, that day is incredible hope. And so with Jesus as a root system, we don't have to listen to our feelings. We can trust him. And then God is the one that grants the increase. We don't have to sit here and be like, I'm trying so hard to be kinder. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. I'm doing this. And then why am I not seeing any fruits? What? Only God gives the fruits. He's the only one. Like, we can rest. We need to work with what God has called us to work. We need to do his work. But we can rest knowing only he will grant us fruit from that work. So we can do the work and then step back and know that Jesus and God are the only ones that are going to make our plants green. We're going to bear fruit. So we don't have to have the pressure of, I have to do it a certain way. I have to do this exactly right. We can take that and we can just say, God, please help me do the work that you've called me to, and then rest in the fact that I don't control the results. You do. And in that rest and in that surrender and release, we can have this incredible peace knowing that it's up to God. It's up to God. It's not up to us. I think it's easy for us to think, well, I did this and this and this. Now I should have fruit. And if we don't see it, sometimes we're like, what's going on? But our fruit might not look like, sometimes our plant might not look the way we think it should. But God makes our plant the way it should be. And we just have to trust God. We don't understand everything that goes on, but we have to trust him that he will lead us through discouragement. If we're there, he will make us flourish. He will make us green. He will make us prosper in spiritual blessings. And we have to trust him that he is the one that provides the fruit, not us. So we can keep working with a smile and an endurance, knowing that Jesus is always under us, sustaining us, because we're rooted in him. We will never be uprooted, and we will always bear fruit, whatever fruit God makes us bear, not what we think we need to bear, because we are trusting in Jesus. So I hope you enjoy this week 3, learning about the garden and how Jesus is our roots.